What up, Dealy Gang? Dealy Kamel here, and we're going to talk about the ban list today. Now, of course, ban list always drops for me when I go to sleep early, so I did miss it a little bit, but let's get right into it, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm going to ask you a few times, so let me know what you guys are thinking. Now, I just wanted to include for every deck, I think, all the cards that they have on the ban list right now, and for Orcust, that's going to include Ibli, which was already at 3, and Orchestrated Babel, which was already at 1. And now, in the addition to this, Mermaid is banned, Scrap Recycler is at 3, and Orchestrated Release is at 1. So, what do we think about these things? Well, Ibli being at 3 really now doesn't really make it a viable play option, especially now that we have Nightmare being banned. That means the easy, free 2-card combo for you to take one card and make it into a Dingirsu. That's not really going to be a thing anymore. You were just getting way too much card advantage, and I actually think it's pretty good that they got rid of that. And a lot of people definitely want a Mermaid ban just because it's an insane interaction that gives you an insane amount of value that really no other deck has access to that easy. So Scrap Recycler is going to go to 3, and I think that it, for the most part, is going to replace Ibli completely. And, you know, I don't think we're going to be seeing many Orcust decks playing limited 3 spells and traps. During the KC Cup or the WCQ qualifiers, Mind Control was a very big option in Orcust. I would be very interested to see what ratios they do play Scrap Recycler at. It is your main starter, so some people I suspect are going to play at 3, but you do have other really good monsters that you can, you know, get started off of just as easily. You know, I'm thinking Phantom Sky Blaster, stuff like that. So maybe there is still room for limited 3 spells and traps. I'm just not sure. At the end of the day, it's going to be how much you're willing to sacrifice that turn 1 consistency. Let me know what you guys think about those limited 3 options for Orcust. And Orchestrated Release going to 1 as well. This is going to make it compete with Orchestrated Babel for your limited 1 spot. And Release was basically being used as, you know, the trap card, the quick play interaction that you would otherwise have if you were playing Orchestrated Babel. Just being able to remove 2 targets, resummon Dingirsu is really good on spot removal. But with Orchestrated Babel, you know, you are also going to be having some more, you know, late game play, and you can actually reuse this card. I was looking through the archetype for Orcust, and I don't think you can get this effect back. I was looking at it, and I don't think you could add spells or traps back that were already added. Let me know if there's a way to reuse Orchestrated Release, but I don't think there is. And because of that, I think that Babel is going to be what people start to play on and continue to play on the deck. So as for things that I think are going to be played going forward, Orchestrated Babel, I think, is going to take the limit 1 spot, and Scrap Recycler is going to take the limit 3, or I guess the optimal limit 3 position in Orcust. However, I'd still like to see how options like Mind Control can still work their way into the deck. Maybe they can play some other start. Okay, moving on. So next, these kind of cards, they're not just from one specific deck. However, they are kind of all tied together because I saw some interesting deck lists during the World Championship qualifier, and some of these cards, you know, they're working in tandem together to make these very powerful strategies. Firstly, Burning Abyss is getting cards back on the ban list. Tour Guide is going to 3 along with Beatrice, and this is pretty massive, right? This deck not really having limit 3 cards before. Now, all those spells and traps, they're gone. Your best starter and your best Xyz monster are your best non-archetypal starter and your best Xyz monster are now fighting for a spot, and Farfa, the best on-spot removal for the deck, is now at 1. Now, he was only being played at 1 anyway. However, this is just going to remove all access of limit 1 cards from your deck because you pretty much have to play Farfa. So I like Burning Abyss getting nerfed. I think it's kind of just been a thorn in the meta for a while. Always gets fall back on. People always fall back on it when ban lists like this happen. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people mixing Orcust, Burning Abyss, Orcust in the next deck we're going to talk about, which is going to be Odd Eyes as well. these decks have insane synergy if you're able to just put your Burning Abyss engine in there. You can put it in Pendulums, you can put it in Orcust. They do work out, and honestly, more engines right now is going to make a deck really, really powerful, and Orcust is a deck that evidently can do that very well, right? We saw that last meta with Mech Knights, and now Orcust are doing it as well. So I'm liking that also in tandem when Konami is nerfing these other meta decks that do have the potential to see even just a couple cards played in a deck like Orcust, they are nerfing them accordingly. So I really do like that, and I think that that is good change. Gaga Revenge is also going to be going to 1. So let's talk about everything else we got here. Pendulums. Volafernigis was really, really good on spot removal. It's an insane Xyz monster that really only Pendulums right now can take advantage of its effect, and it is pretty dang good at taking care of this effect. Of course, now you pretty much only play some people play 2 Volafernigis, but now no more limit 1 cards for you when you play that. Also, it's not going to be able to really be played effectively with stuff like the Burning Abyss engine anymore. As for Orcust, I think the limit 3 Pendulum Call is really what's going to just knock that out of the water, making it so that, you know, it is really hard for you to commit to either one of the archetypes when you are totally missing Searcher or Consistency cards for one of them. Right now, if you want to play these decks together, at 3 you've got Scrap Recycler and you've got Pendulum Call. So I do not know if we're going to be seeing those decks together anytime soon. As for Gaga Revenge, it is actually a pretty good card, and Onomats we're seeing a lot of play, a lot more play on the ladder and in tournaments because of it. Onomats really have not been picked up since you know, way back when. So it was very interesting to see them do very good. However, this card as well was also being used in tandem with, you know, I think, what is it, Garbage Lord and stuff like this, to resummon your Gagagas and then special summon for free. It was a lot of Xyz summoning, and hey, I guess it was a little too much. Let me know what you think about Gaga Revenge specifically. I think out of all the cards that were banned, I think that one is kind of like, I mean, we're hit by on the list. I think that one was kind of the least deserving. So let's move on. Let me know what you guys think. And now these are kind of just the straggler limited cards, just a few that I wanted to talk about. Inasichi finally getting moved from limit 1 to limit 2, and this is pretty good now because there are not many impactful limit 2 cards anymore that you really have to worry about when deck building, especially for Karakuri. So Inasichi was locked at 1 for the longest time. That is no longer true, so that is a plus. And Silver Rocket Dragon, man, is going to go to 3. Someone in one of our tournament streams asked me what nerf I thought rockets were going to get, and I was like, man, I really hope they don't get any nerf at all because I feel like they're in a very good spot right now. However, Silver Rocket Dragon does have a crazy interaction that, you know, again, pretty much no other deck can do, banishing any one card from your opponent's extra deck. And if you go first, this is pretty much guaranteed to be able to turn off many decks' initial strategies. You know, just thinking, you can catch people when they are playing, you know, light copies of their main boss monster, especially in decks like Odd Eyes. You know, we saw with Phantom Knights last meta, these one of insane monsters like Rage Dragon, you know, these are gone. These cards are gone, and it's very good as well against a deck like Orcust. Being able to catch people when they play one Galatea, ooh, it's so good to be able to just shut someone's entire strategy down on turn 1. So that's very good, and it's gonna get put to 3 now. Rockets is a deck that very much utilizes all of the limit 3 trap cards. They're all really good in the deck. So do I think you're gonna take out Silver Rocket for the trap cards? Honestly, I've seen a lot of people saying that you really shouldn't be playing more than 10, 11 monsters in Rocket. If it comes at the cost of me not seeing Silver Rocket as much, man, I do think I still want to see Crackdown and Compulse and Ice Dragon's Prison. I still want to play those cards in my deck, and I'm willing to cut, you know, down to 1 Silver Rocket Dragon because of that. Some people usually only play 2. However, if you keep in mind the fact that you really want to see Tracer and Quick Launch more, and these cards are just more copies of Silver Rocket Dragon, I don't think that this is a huge nerf. I think, you know, the new ratio is going to be 1 Silver Rocket Dragon and then 2 of your limit traps so that you can get the most value out of your power. Next, we've got Tatsunoko. Tatsunoko getting kind of readjusted after the emergency Stardust nerfs from the previous meta, and you know, it getting put to 3 is basically a death sentence for this card, at least as the Stardust deck goes. You know, a lot of the initial very good low level tuners are now at 3. You know, Jet Synchron is at 3, tuning is at 3. This card is not going to be seen in a junk extra deck, a junk Stardust extra deck anytime soon. The only place I could really see this getting played is maybe Crystron's, because they just got Impact taken off the ban list, and even then I don't know if it would be a great option, even, you know, maybe at 1. But you know, I don't know. I think definitely in underpowered decks you really want to be using your limited 3 spots as best as you can. Yeah, I don't think too much about Tatsunoko. It hasn't been, you know, synchro decks like that haven't really been good in a while, and this is just ensuring that it's gonna lose contact with some of the best cards for synchro summoning at low levels. One more thing, these are the cards that got taken off the ban list. Let's do some rapid fire and talk about all of them at once. Goki rematch and Goki finishing move, both off the list. Man, dude, the Goki nerfs were freaking insane, and they absolutely murdered the deck. Now, the only card that Goki still has on the list is going to be Suprex at 3. And I think that, you know, a lot of people were playing Suprex at 1 when these Goki nerfs changes were initially put into the game. Maybe now that you can play rematch and finishing move freely, maybe they play some more traps, or they just go back to playing 3 Suprex. So it will be interesting to see how they approach the deck now that a lot of the really good spells are not nerfed anymore. Crystron Impact, this card has been nerfed forever because Crystrons were a menace back in the day, but I think it's evident now that the newer decks that come out can do much more than even the best Crystron setup with full optimization of current, like, in-game mechanics, right? Mech Knights, they're just insane. Their effects power creep the entire game. Orcus, insane. They did the same thing, power creep the entire game. Crystrons, let's get them back in there, man. No reason for these cards to be nerfed. Signet Crosswipe is an interesting unnerf completely as well. I guess they've seen that the Salamangreat Code Talker line of play has just completely evaporated now that these new decks are faster. They've got more effects, and you are never as short on resources as you are when you play a deck like Code Talkers, right? This card being limited, you know, it doesn't really do much anymore, and I guess they're confident that even with this card unlimited, Salamangreat and Code Talker is not really going to be able to do much. Swallow's Nest getting unnerfed. This is really big, man. That means Harpies are off the ban list completely. Harpies is a free and optimal deck now. The same goes for Blackwings. If you were considering playing Swallow's Nest in Blackwings as well, it does work for not only wind, right? I don't want to say that and then someone call me out on that. Winged Beast type monster. Okay, there you go. So yeah, very good that this is off the list as well. It's a great card that gives, you know, Harpies, Blackwings a lot of value, and it was locked down before, so these decks, huge plus for them with Swallow's Nest coming off. Seer, the Burning Abyss card is getting taken off. Now this is the main resummon, I guess, you know, Xyz fodder card that keeps coming back, and this getting unnerfed I think is rather good for the deck, considering that they hit it in a couple other places. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think about Burning Abyss. I don't know too much about Burning Abyss. What's your opinion on their changes as a whole? Beatrice and Torgai getting put to 3, Seer coming off the list, and what's his face, Skarm getting put back on, Farfa getting put on the list. So let me know what you think about that. Raid Raptor Strangulanius. Dude, Raid Raptors have done absolutely nothing in Duel Links from their inception because Konami screwed them over by giving all the powerful support to Phantom Knights instead of the Raid Raptor intro box. So Raid Raptors are still struggling very hard. They just got new cards in new box. They don't do anything. They buff their skill. They don't do anything. And now they're unnerfing this card, and they got the new event cards, and they don't do anything. So I would very much like for Raid Raptors to do something. And Misjudge, dude, back from the Desperado days, Misjudge is off the list. And hey, man, they are saying the coin flip negates. They're not that oppressive anymore. You know what's oppressive? Or cussed. And, you know, I think Konami did a pretty good job at, you know, at least giving them a sizable nerf. And so a lot of these strategies, I'm glad that they are really taking the time to look at the fact that, you know, even things from the last meta, the meta before, you know, previous formats that got, you know, new support, these things are nowhere near as strong as, you know, the new decks that are coming out right now. So let's free them up. Let's let people. So in closing, I think the Orcuss nerfs were good. I don't think they need to murder the deck. However, in order to avoid, you know, a deck like Orcuss receiving kind of a slap on the wrist nerf and then it's still being powerful for several months at the same, pretty much the same best deck level until it gets absolutely murdered, I think that, you know, that is pretty much what we're used to. And I would kind of like that if that in the time that they do give Orcuss a nerf like this, they should give very good support to one of the other decks that are in the meta right now, but are like right below Orcuss, so that, you know, things can really start to get interesting at the top. So I'd like to see some more Rocket support, man. That's all I'm saying. I want to see Rocket support, man, because now I feel like they can crazy pop off. They got their Silver Rocket Dragon nerf, right? Now give us some more stuff, please. Let's get going on that. But guys, let me know what you thought about the ban list. This is probably one of the way better ones that we've gotten in, you know, recent history. And I think all of the Vrain's ban lists have been pretty good so far. Konami is paying a little bit more attention to game balance than they once have. So guys, peace out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.